Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Gormley. I'm the director of evangelization here at my beautiful parish in the Woodlands, Texas, St. Anthony of Padua, and I have been actively involved in the ministry of the church at a parish for the last 15 years of my life. I came up doing youth ministry, giving talks. I started doing retreats and traveling around the country. I have done a lot of stuff. Now I'm doing fully adult faith formation, and I oversee youth ministry here at my parish. And I've done a lot of stuff, but I can tell you this true fact. There is nothing more rewarding than the new ministry that I have joined as a volunteer, not overseeing it, not running it, which is prison ministry. There's a wonderful group called the Colby Prison Retreat Ministries. It grew out of the retreat ministries called Acts. Originally it was called Acts in Prison, but they took that model of a weekend, men's and women's retreat, and they imported it into the prison system. And it is intense, it is crazy, it is terrifying, it's all those things. And it's life-changing. A buddy of mine is a lay exorcist, a lay assistant to exorcists. And he's a part of the International Exorcist, blah, blah, blah. And he does all that wonderful stuff. And I asked him one day, I said, that's got to be terrifying. He said, Mike, I feel sorry for you. I said, why is that? And he said, because you never get to see the grace of God work in so blatant a way that it's an instantaneous conversion. Well, he said that 6 years ago. Because 5 years ago, I would say maybe being an exorcist or involved in exorcisms and doing prison ministry, you get to see the grace of Jesus Christ undoubtedly work right in front of your eyes. So what am I talking about? Well, I did not want to join. I'm a chubby little homeschooler. I'm a suburbanite. The closest I've ever been to jail or prison is picking up a family member at 2 o'clock in the morning who just made bail. Long story. I've done that, and that's it. I've never been a part of corrections ministries. I got voluntold to join, and I'm so happy that I did. Just to tell you some quick stories of God's victory, right? The very first talk, the very first day, a guy stands up and says, my dad abandoned me and our family when I was 6 years old, and I hated him. And he said, so I I channeled that anger into being against blacks and against Mexicans. And he said, and I grew in my hate and eventually joined the Aryan Brotherhood or some white supremacist gang like that. And he said, but then I went on a retreat 6 months ago. And this exact Colby retreat 6 months ago. And he said, and God changed my life. I realized I wasn't mad at blacks or Mexicans. I was mad at my father. And in the name of Jesus Christ, I forgave him. And then he looks out over the room, right, the table right in front of him, all African Americans, all former or current gang members. And he says, and I know I've hurt some of you in this room today, and I want you to know I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? See, the unit that I work at, that I go to, is a maximum security Texas state penitentiary. It's called the Ferguson Unit, and my heart from day one belongs at the Ferguson Unit. It is nicknamed a gladiator unit because most of the men there are gang-affiliated violent offenders. Not all of them, but many of them. And many of them are serving decades, not just years. And so it gives you a totally different context of the ministry that you're doing. And this guy stood up and said that. I mean, these in a violent room, half are black, half are Mexican and white. You realize that just saying those words was incredibly bold. Man sitting at the table right in front of him stood up, walked right up to him and said, I forgive you, and embraced him, right? This is the experience of these retreats. Also, I witnessed instantaneous conversions where the grace of Jesus Christ instantly changed a person's heart, right? So one day, this pagan priest, who I cannot say his name out of fear of reprisals if this becomes public and viral or whatever, he had an instantaneous conversion off of a misspoken word. He meant to say gods. He said God, and then he goes, how funny that I just said God instead of gods. And then he just looked at me and he goes, or he looked at the audience, he goes, guys, this is real. Jesus Christ is real. Jesus Christ is God. Guys, take this stuff seriously. Give your life to him. And we're all like crying and we're applauding. And he stood up and he said his baptismal name. He was baptizing his baby, whatever, never practiced. He said his real name, which he hadn't gone by in years. In years. And he said, my name is, and he said it. And the whole place stood up. Men were standing on their chairs, and we were chanting his name. The guards are chanting his name. The men in white who are serving the retreat, because the inmates, half the team that runs the retreats are the inmates, and then the outside guys are the other half. We're all cheering and chanting and saying his name, and he's in RCIA right now. I had another buddy who converted from paganism, and he would go and work over the Protestants and invite them into the retreats. And they would say, no, I don't go for that pagan Roman Catholic stuff. And the guy would say, listen up, I used to be a pagan, this ain't paganism. And it was amazing. Transformations, conversions, and the hard work. The hard work that's investing in people's lives. The warden and the chaplain said something I think had a lot of wisdom. They said, we don't want a crusade. We want to know you're investing in these men's lives. So we couldn't say, we're going to come and do this retreat weekend, even if we do it every 6 months, which we do. We had to then set up a time and come weekly, dedicated to those men who went on the retreat, who want to come to this meeting. And it's been amazing when you see 40 men out of 66 come back for weekly formation. Many of them enter into the RCIA program. Many of them who are already Catholic get confirmed. Go to confession, right? I have seen the grace of God work in marvelous ways. And as Jesus said, when I was in prison and you visited me, I've met Christ in the prisons. So I hope to see you in corrections ministry, not in the prison like you're arrested, but I hope to see you in corrections ministries, because I'm telling you, it is one of the most exhausting, terrifying, and beautiful ministries you can do. God love you all.